SpaceX rocket that will produce 1.7 million pounds of thrust at liftoff. We are keeping our fingers crossed that the weather cooperates. It's a 50-50 chance. It looks beautiful right now, but there may be some thunderstorms rolling in later, so we're keeping a close eye on the weather. In the meantime, we're going to head west to Hawthorne for an operational update. Dan?
Hey, Marie. We are here in Hawthorne still. The astronauts have a crew training facility that's equipped with both a cockpit simulator and a full-scale Dragon mock-up to conduct simulations both for nominal and off-nominal situations.
And recently, the SpaceX team shared the exact same ISS simulator that the astronauts train on with the public, so you can try your hand at docking the ISS. If you head over to iss-sim.spacex.com, you can try your hand at docking with the space station. And I've tried it once before. It was really difficult. It looks way more, it's more difficult than it actually is, I think.
Yeah, flying in space is really deceiving. Just when you think you're going really slow and everything's okay, the next thing you know, you're careening into the space station. So it's way harder. You have to go way slower than you think. It might take a couple of tries, but it's doable.
Yeah, but you guys should try it and check it out and see if you can do it. So let's check in with John Innsbrucker for a quick update on Dragon and Falcon 9. John?
Well, we're coming up on T-minus 3 hours and 35 minutes. All continues to go well for today's launch. Now on the launch pad, Falcon 9 is powered on. Engine and stage checkouts were performed last night. All of those looked good. Now we're currently pressurizing gas storage vessels on both the first and second stage. And as I like to report, the good news is there's nothing significant to talk about on the rocket right now. Now on top of Falcon 9 is the Dragon spacecraft. That's being prepared for the crew. The Dragon propellant system was pressurized to final flight pressure about an hour ago. We had the support team arrive in the White Room just inside T-minus 4 hours, and we're waiting right now for the crew to walk out of the O&C building, and they should arrive at the pad by about T-minus 3 hours. For the Dragon spacecraft, all systems are also currently go. The Air Force range reports no issues at this time. The range will be maintaining both air and sea space clearance around the launch pad. They also help support things like putting the roadblocks up to prevent access to the hazard areas at both the launch site at 39A and around the Cape. Now, the big question, of course, is the weather, and as I said before, we all talk about it, but it's the one thing we can't do anything about. Weather is 50% probability of good conditions. We are going to be watching for the clouds, lightning, thunderstorms. The sea breeze is not as strong today, and that's going to not help push all of that back over Central Florida. But right now, things are looking good with both Falcon 9 and Dragon as we count down to liftoff. Now, we want to see where you're following today's launch from, so we're going to jump over to Tahira at our social desk.
Thanks, John. So glad to hear that things are at least looking good right now for this launch. Really hope it stays that way. So we just took a look at numbers of viewerships across our social media platforms, and there are now 500,000 of you tuning in for today's broadcast. Welcome, guys. We are so excited to have you. We also have the top cities right now tuning in, and that's Columbia, South Carolina, Houston, Texas, Los Angeles, New York, and Orlando. So it seems like the East Coast is really pulling today's viewership, but hey, last time on Wednesday, California came in and really stole the whole show away. Let's take a look at what's being shared online right now. So right now we have this future astronaut, and I don't know who he had to call, but it looks like he is in this SpaceX suit and his Tesla getting ready for round 2. Absolutely love it. Let's take a second look. Okay, right now we have a French bulldog. It looks like taking Bob's place for launch right now. This is so funny. We'd love to see it, guys. And so for those of you tuning in, be sure to use that hashtag LaunchAmerica on social media and show us how you're getting ready for liftoff. So earlier in the show, we polled users to see which NASA logo you're sporting for today's launch, and the results are in. So it looks like about 62% of you are wearing the meatball today, and that leaves the worm falling a little bit behind. But hey, now that the worm is back, maybe y'all will be sporting it more often. And so with that, let's head back to Marie at NASA Kennedy. Marie?
Thanks, Tahira. We have some really spirited reactions here. We're looking live at the ONC walkout doors, but I just have to tell you, Leland threw up his arms in the air in victory when he saw more people sporting the meatball, and Lauren looks like someone just
shook.
kidnapped her
She's
dog.
seen a ghost.
I am shook.
Go worm, go worm, go away worm.
Oh, wow. You know, you can't predict, how everyone else feels. That's the beauty of diversity of opinions,
And other traditions like the meatball and the worm, or a card game that we play called Possum's Fargo. And you have to play enough hands to where the commander loses a hand before we can walk out. So that's probably going on right now, and they're getting ready to have Doug lose his hand.
Yes.
And then we can get in the elevator and come out and get in the spaceship.
Yep. So we're giving them that moment in private. And Leland, I wanted to ask you too, because I know, we had a scrub really late in the count yesterday. We got just under T-minus 17 minutes, and we were all like, oh, it was like a collective groan across the country, everybody watching. And I know you've been through a delay once yourself on one of your shuttle flights. And I wonder, what does it take to kind of refocus yourself on day two? Do you go through all the